The views and opinions expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of the staff and management of Salem Media of Hawaii.
Welcome to Generations Radio, where the focus is on our seniors and their families. We are here each Saturday afternoon from 5 until 6 p.m., bringing you resourceful information with our radio team of professionals in the field of aging. Stay with us for the next 1 hour as we explore different ways to make life more exciting and meaningful for our extraordinary seniors. Right here on AM 690 The Answer. And now, here is our host and the publisher of Generations Magazine, Percy Ihara.
Welcome back to Generations Radio. This is Percy Ihara here, as you know, every Saturday and Sunday. And don't forget, go to our website, generations808.com, to view all our past issues, but also all our past radio shows. Very shortly, we'll have all the KITV Aging Well segments on there as well, so you can view those. And thanks to KITV, every Saturday morning, about 7:40, 7:45, we do an Aging Well segment with Moani Nabarro, and she does a great job. But really just informing the public about aging, giving resources, providing events. We're going to have an event coming up pretty soon. So check them out. It's about 7:40, 7:45 on KITV News every Saturday morning, Aging Well. And, with the magazine, as a resource magazine, we try to provide, trusted information, programs, services, events as well. And one of the growing topics, I was in D.C., Washington, D.C., a couple of weeks back for the Aging in America conference in D.C., and what a great city. But anyway, there was over 500 topics on aging. Everything flew over my head because I was only there for a week and 4.5 days of conference, and 7 hours of workshops. And I mean, there were literally over 25 rooms going on at one time. So, and night events. And one of the things I really realized that Medicare and Social Security is great, but really, for a lot of the seniors, it's a Medicaid program that's really going to be affected. It's going to affect our parents, our grandparents, our neighbors, our friends, and it's really important that we understand. So one of our business partners, Cardon Outreach, is here today. So welcome, Cassandra and Amber. So welcome to the show, ladies.
Hi, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, really. I mean, Medicaid is always a big topic. Social Security and Medicare, and we're going to have you on again, but Medicaid, and first of all, for people that don't know who Cardin Outreach, can you give us a little background on Cardin Outreach?
Sure, thank you. I'd be happy to. Well, we're a company that services people across the country. We work in 46 different states right now. In Hawaii, our main focus is we work within hospitals and in the community to help people get Medicaid eligibility. So we meet with families, we review their assets, their financial needs, and abilities, and advise them through the application process to see if they can get coverage for services already received or coverage for needs in the future, such as nursing home, long-term care type of Medicaid coverage.
So really, but it's really about the application process because it's not easy, I hear.
Absolutely, it is. What we are experts at is moving through the application process, making sure that all the forms that are required by the MedQuest office are completed accurately, that doctors complete forms that they have to provide, that documents are provided timely and are provided with the information that MedQuest worker is looking for. And just so that folks that may be in a situation that is stressful due to health concerns or needs for their parents or families don't have to also have that other burden of trying to figure out what the state requirements are and how to fulfill them.
And there are a lot of them, yeah.
There are a lot of them.
Yes, so you guys specialize nationwide. I didn't really think, I knew you were in Hawaii. And how many years have you been in Hawaii now?
So we've been in Hawaii since 1998.
Really? That long?
Right, a long time. We've been working, and we work all across the state. We work on all the neighbor islands and here on Oahu.
Good for you.
Right now, we have about 26 full-time employees working across the state of Hawaii.
So you mean you have office on neighbor islands, or we have employees out there?
We do have employees out there. Our offices on neighbor islands are within the community hospitals there.
Okay.
But we also have the ability to go into the community and meet families or help them in their homes or other locations.
So, Cassandra Stewart, you're the director of Cardin Outreach. And so what is your background, can I ask?
Sure, thank you. Yeah, I am currently the director at Cardin Outreach. I've been here with Cardon Outreach for 10 years now. And prior to that, I worked for Department of Human Services. I started in 1990 as what they call a welfare worker, I guess. I worked in financial, food stamp, and Medicaid offices. And then in my last 7, 8 years with the department, I was a supervisor at the MedQuest office.
So you have a lot of background, and that's really good because it can be very complex, can't it?
It is, and it can be. And the background helps because I'm familiar with the rules and can train my staff in all of the rules and the culture of the state and how to work with state workers to the best advantage so that we smooth through any barriers, hopefully not have any barriers at all because we've provided everything at the beginning so that busy eligibility worker can just get that case worked and off of their plate right away.
Oh, good for you. And Amber here, you're actually the one that actually goes out and meet with the family a lot of the times.
Yes, I am.
And so, what does that entail, and how do you like your job? I mean, what does it really do?
Well, really, I love doing what I do. I love helping people, and what usually happens is there's a referral that comes through the office, whether it's through the hospital or through Generations magazine or through other nursing facilities. We pre-screen them over the phone, and once I feel like we're looking at an eligible patient, we schedule a consultation. Consultations are great because they're free, and we're able to go to either the location where they're at their home or to a location that they're comfortable meeting with. We go over a questionnaire to see what makes them eligible or what makes them ineligible. And from there, I'm able to kind of direct them through spend down or what processes we need to do to complete the application process and how Cardin Outreach can help.
Well, what's good about that is I know the first meeting to get them kind of pre-qualified is free because I've heard some other situations where people are charging to get pre-screened, and I really don't think that's fair, nor it should be done. So, some of the basis of Medicaid, from what I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, is like a partnership between 50% state, 50% federal funds around there.
Well, the funding division depends on the type of program that a person becomes eligible for. Basically, Medicaid is a federally funded program that's administered by the states. And in Hawaii, we have a little more state funding because we have groups of individuals that may not be funded by the federal Medicaid, and then the state kicks in funds to provide coverage for those folks. But Medicaid's been around since the 1960s is when it was first started as a program and has developed and, as we all know, over the last couple years has expanded to include even more persons for possible eligibility. So in Hawaii, we're very blessed in that our state has the philosophy and the aloha to extend coverage to persons from birth to death. Yeah. And other states limit their coverage to just children and to disabled or elderly. So Hawaii has really broad coverage for those that qualify for a Medicaid program.
Well, I go to national conferences. Like I said, I was one in D.C., and I know our Hawaii Department of Human Services, the Medicaid program is very well received. They're out there a lot, and they provide a lot of services. But basically, what exactly is Medicaid?
Well, Medicaid is an insurance program, basically. And it's what's called a means-tested program, which basically says that if you meet certain income and asset limits, then you're eligible for Medicaid. And then you have Medicaid insurance. And in Hawaii, it's through the Department of Human Services, the MedQuest division. So you may hear this, it's Quest, or it's Medicaid, or it's MedQuest. Those are
QXA.
Or QXA, yes. And that's all basically the same thing. It's just different names for it, depending on if you're talking about the program or the coverage type or the state office. So the state office is
That's why it's so complicated.
That's one of the reasons, yeah. Is because
it's because they have different services.
They do have different services. So once you become eligible for Medicaid, then you're assigned to a plan. And that's where...
that's health insurance.
That's your health insurance then,
Not homeowners insurance, not car insurance.
No.
Shucks.
I know.
Car insurance is so expensive.
I know. It's crazy. But no, it's health insurance. And so you get assigned to a plan. And there are 5 plans in Hawaii. And If they assign you to a plan that doesn't work for you, then you can change.
You can.
Yes, they allow you
Voluntarily say, I don't like this plan?
You can say my doctor doesn't accept that plan, for instance, and then choose a different one within a certain range of dates.
Sure.
You can't just choose willy-nilly anytime. But once you first become eligible, you have so many days you can change. And then they have open enrollment once a year. Just like any other insurance will have open enrollment.
Nothing to do with age, just basically a means test. It's a financial assessment, basically?
Absolutely, yes. Just a financial assessment. And then there's different income limits depending on your age, your household size, children, big income limits because they want to insure children across the board wherever they can. And then you get put into a plan, and then you go from there. Your plan helps you from there.
So when you say 5 different plans, what do you mean by that?
Aloha Care, HMSA,
see.
Kaiser, UHA, and Ohana.
Ohana, and that's WellCare.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So when you say 5 different plans, so this is just health insurance. So this is different than the long-term care and skilled nursing, right?
Right. Even though you will get a specific plan for your long-term care or skilled nursing coverage.
You still will?
You still will, right.
Okay.
Right.
And so, so you have 5 of the major insurance companies here in Hawaii that do regular insurance, but they also do the Medicaid insurance.
Yes, they also do the Medicaid insurance, yes.
So I know a lot of times. I spoke to a bunch of attorneys yesterday. The day before that, our friend Martha Clopin, a Medicare specialist, spoke to about 80 financial advisors about Medicare. And not that I was shocked, but a little bit, because out of the financial advisors, I would say 80% of them didn't really have a really good grasp on Medicare. The attorneys yesterday, they had a better idea because they were doing some estate planning, and they knew some of the basics. Where some of the attorneys were very versed on Medicaid, but they were talking more about the long-term care side. Mm-hmm. So on the let's talk about the health insurance side. Mm-hmm. What kind of coverage does that cover? Dental, vision, everything?
Medical, dental, vision, and drug coverage, yes.
And medical stays and procedures, and is that 100% paid?
Yes. There's no co-pays for Medicaid coverage or Quest at that time. At that point, you would call it Quest.
Okay.
And it covers just about all services that are needed to stay healthy or to overcome illness or hospital stays, doctor visits, just about 100% coverage of everything. If a person has Quest and they are questioning if a certain drug or service will be covered, then that's where they go to their plan, to their Aloha Care, HMSA, Kaiser, UHA, Ohana, whomever they have, and they'll have the ability to find out if that's covered or not. But for the most part, it's a very dynamic coverage through the Quest program.
That is. So, Amber, you mentioned something that caught my ear, is that you really don't go seek clients. Clients are referred to you, right?
Correct.
So when they do that, they're already in a hospital, or are they already in a hospital and the hospital refers them to you, or they know that they might qualify? They heard from a friend that their income level is so low that they need some kind of insurance, right?
Yeah, usually these people are already in nursing homes, and they're in like a private pay situation where they're paying privately through their own funds, and they're starting to dwindle down on it, and now they need Medicaid to cover. We also come across people who are still in the community and not in nursing homes. So we walk them through the process of linking with the case management agency and the application process. So we go from ground zero all the way to people that are in there, or people that were in the hospital and didn't qualify at the time, and then they were over assets, and then we need to help them with Medicaid after.
Yeah. I think that is where we're going to go. That's what I'm going to go to, is qualifying. Mm-hmm. I mean, even with financial advisors I work with every day, attorneys every day, qualifying, I wouldn't say there's a gray area, because there's no gray area, right? There's either you qualify or you don't, right?
That's right.
Correct.
There's no gray area.
But I hear so much different things. We had a conversation yesterday with a bunch of attorneys about the qualifying for somebody's home. Now, you can actually have a home.
Yes, you can.
And still qualify for Medicaid.
Yes, you can. That's correct.
However, not $1 million home. Or
well,
$2 million. Actually, maybe.
It depends on what program you're applying for. So if you're going to live in your home and stay in your home and you want Medicaid coverage, then it doesn't matter the value of your home. But if you're going to go into a nursing home, then that's where the value of your home can come into play.
But I understood that Medicaid doesn't come into your home.
No, they don't. So, but what I'm saying is that if you have a home that's worth $1 million and you want the state to pay for you to go to a nursing home, they're going to count a part of that in the value of your assets.
And that's, I heard 750, 828. What's the correct figure?
The figure right now is $828,000 equity value.
Net equity value.
Yes.
So if you have $1 million home, you have to take a mortgage or something to bring that net equity below 828.
You got it. Yeah.
Because I heard 750 about 3 months ago. Is that wrong? Was that's
an old number. That's from a couple years ago.
Oh, really?
So every year they look at it to see if they need to increase the income limits and the asset limits, the equity value of the home limit. And all of those increases are based on Social Security. So this year nothing changed because for folks that get Social Security, they know they did not get an increase in their Social Security income this year. So 2016 stayed the same as 2015. But the 750 was from a couple years ago.
A couple years ago.
So now it's 828,000 equity value.
Well, not that I have a problem with that, but you know, this is a program for people that really that need help.
Yeah, well, you know, in other parts of the country, that number would be much lower.
Yeah.
So this is adjusted for property values and averages in Hawaii itself.
I see.
Yeah.
I see. Because, you know, one thing I realized in looking at the demographics, I was at a workshop in the Aging in America conference a couple weeks ago at DC, and the scary numbers they were showing us of people that's going to age into that category that going to need long-term care. Possibly they're going to find a way to get on Medicaid. Will we have enough funds to cover all that?
Well, yeah, that's something that's debated in Congress every year, the Medicaid budget. And that's above my pay grade. I don't go that far into the knowledge of everything to do with Medicaid. But you're right. It is something that across the country, and particularly in Hawaii, we're going to see a lot more folks that are going to age into needing nursing home care and possibly Medicaid to help pay for that care.
So would Hawaii be so special to get more Medicaid funds?
We do get more funds based on our need, yes.
And how much of that is all the Medicaid funds from the federal, or does the state have to put in some money?
Yeah, you know what, Percy, I don't really know the percentage on that, to tell you the truth. Yeah.
Because the numbers are scary.
Yeah.
I mean, real scary. You know, there was a professor from UH that did a study about Asians living in Japanese live in Hawaii versus Japan, Chinese live in Hong Kong versus Hawaii, and vice versa. All the different nationalities. I mean, you know, Japan's like the oldest country in the world now, with 30% over 65 or 60, and Korea is pretty close behind. When those numbers, the professor from UH did a study. I think I saw it about 6 years ago. We're only 10 years away from that, and it's a pretty scary thought. So,
well, it's good that we get to live a long time, right? But, yeah, as far as being able to take care of our parents and our friends and neighbors, that is something we do need to be aware of. There are more and more nursing home beds that are being built and opened in Hawaii.
That's all private pay.
A lot of it is private pay, yeah. Yeah.
And we lost beds from Maluhia. We lost beds from Leahi. I heard Hilo Hospital lost some beds just recently.
Oh, I didn't hear that. Okay.
Or maybe
they could have.
I could have sworn it was like early part of the year.
Yeah.
And then Kona Hospital lost beds last year. So that's pretty scary thought. So, okay, basic eligibility requirements. Let's go. So you can have a house.
Yes.
With a net equity of 828.
Right.
A car.
Yes, you can have a car.
Any kind of car.
Any kind of car, as long as you use the car for your daily needs. Oh. So you cannot have a car that you just keep in a beautiful garage as a collector's item, right?
Well, how do you do that? Amber, do you go down to the house and look around and?
Well, I mean, I try not to go and look into their things, but yeah, I mean, like we go there and we observe what is going on, and if we see something, I bring it to their attention to let me know what's going on.
Okay.
Basically, though, people are allowed to just state, I use the car.
Yes.
Okay, what about toys like a motorcycle, a boat?
That's where they start to count.
Yes.
Oh, really?
Right. So you cannot have...
Well, what about the motorcycle as their main transportation?
That's okay.
Okay.
That's okay. And if they live on the boat,
they can.
It's their house.
Okay,
so that's
so you
okay.
can't have a house and a boat. You can have one or the other.
One or the
'Cause
other.
I know some people live at Alawai.
Yes, yes, we run into that occasionally, right?
Okay.
Right. So you can only have one house, though. You can't have a house here and a house in Vegas or a house on Big
I
Island.
rented somewhere had rental property. So so if they have rental property, don't count.
Rental property is okay as long as it's in a business name. So if your second property is under an LLC and you actually declare taxes for it as a self-employed, have the GE license and all, then it doesn't count as an asset.
But if they get income
the
from that,
monies from it will count as income, yes.
okay.
So if you just have a house, though, and it's in your name and you're renting it out, then that counts as an asset.
So they can just flip it to a corporation or LLC?
Yeah, no, because then that's called disposing of your asset in order to qualify for Medicaid.
So that means that famous
5-year look back. Right.
So, okay. Well, because I was telling some people that, you know what, Medicaid is so tight. We have a great Medicaid program, but we lost beds just recently. So is it because of the budget? Is it because we don't have enough state funds?
Yeah, you know what? I don't know. I can't answer that one. I don't know.
So, I mean, I really think they need to push the look back period maybe to 7 or 10 years. We see people pushing people into Medicaid just to qualify to hide their assets. Mm-hmm. It's not illegal, but it's really not. It's not using the program for what it was meant to be.
Well, here's what we tell folks is they ask us, can we do this, can we do that with our monies? And we tell them, this is the rule. This is what Medicaid rule is. If you think that meets the rule, then you can do that. And then we'll advise them to say, we think that would be counted as disposal of assets. And we've had a lot of experience with different situations where people have moved funds here and there. So we kind of had a good handle on what the state considers to be disposal of assets.
Yeah, because you see so many attorneys in the papers saying, have the state pay for your long-term care needs, and I really think that should be illegal to put those kind of ads in there, and pushing people, because I've seen situations where they didn't even know that the Medicaid, you can't stay in the home. I said, didn't your attorney explain this to you? You can't stay in the home. I've had several families come to me, and they don't want to go anyplace else. Mm-hmm. But for some reason, there's been a miscommunication between the families and whoever has been pushing them into Medicaid. Mm-hmm. I mean, Medicaid, as all things are even, is not always the best care. Mm-hmm. But it is better than nothing. But better than being on the streets. So I like your question here. I was going to ask me to ask you is, what's the biggest barrier in being qualifying, Amber?
Well, to me, I really think that when people have their homes and their assets, that is like the biggest barrier, mostly the home. A lot of times people put their homes in trusts, and that would make it become an asset, which would put them over the asset limit and make them not qualified for Medicaid.
So when you put it in a trust, it's a countable asset.
Yes.
Is that what you said?
Correct.
Okay, so there's two types of trusts, a revocable trust and an irrevocable trust.
Correct.
So I've heard mixed things about this in the last year. So you have a trust that you can change and amend at any time. You can take it in and out of a trust versus the irrevocable trust, which you cannot. And I have one right now where it's in an irrevocable trust because the wife passed away and her side of the AB trust went into a trust B, which is an irrevocable trust. So it does qualify for Medicaid or does not qualify for Medicaid?
Medicaid holds the position that there's really no such thing as an irrevocable trust. It may just take more legal advice and work to get the asset out of the trust. And if the home is in either type of trust, it counts as an asset.
But I've seen many attorneys put properties in an irrevocable trust to qualify for Medicaid.
We've seen that too.
And from what I understand, and I'm not going to hold you to it, but I've seen situations where the state will not go after property that's in an irrevocable trust.
There are a very narrow margin of types of trusts which you can set up. And what we tell folks is if you have your home in a trust, let us see the paperwork. And if we don't have experience with that type and don't know how to advise you, we'll take it to a supervisor at the MedQuest office, and we'll get their input as to whether it's countable or not countable and what steps to take.
Because they will eventually put a lien on a property if it's still in the irrevocable or revocable trust.
Yes.
Okay. That's a good. I think that's really important because I've seen different situations. I'm not an attorney, so I now I know I can just call you up. Say, can you send it to the MedQuest office or the Medicaid office and get it reviewed? So they will review it before they do anything. Sure,
we have relationships with the MedQuest office. We don't get any special treatment. I want to make that clear right from the get-go. I'm sorry, no. It's a state government office. No. But we do have the ability to talk with folks at the office and be able to ask questions and get information back so that we can better advise the folks that we're helping, because MedQuest wants to have a good application come in, and they want to be able to make a clean determination. And if we can do that for them before they get all the paperwork, it just helps the situation all the way around. So we are able to get clarification on certain issues.
So here at Cardon Outreach, Amber and Cassandra, one quick question before we go to break. I hear the application is kind of lengthy and kind of complicated. It's hard to fill out. That's why they need you, right? It's,
yes. I mean, because it's helpful, I think, to have someone guide you through it, because there are questions that can be confusing on it. The state does their best to make it an open and welcoming application.
From what I understand, they do.
They really do. But if you can just turn it over to the hands of someone that's completed thousands of these, it's much easier than sitting the first time for yourself and trying to answer all the questions. Yeah.
Good. Anyway, we're going to take a short break. We're here with the Cardon Outreach ladies, Amber and Cassandra, and we'll be right back after this short message.
We will be right back with Percy Ihara from Generations Radio. If you have any questions or want to be part of our discussion, give us a call at 296-5467. That's 296-5467. This is Generations Radio on AM 690 The Answer.
Moon Physical Therapy is here to help you back to recovery. Moon Physical Therapy is located on Ward Avenue across from Sports Authority. Physician prescribed for motor vehicle accidents, workman's comp, or that body pain that comes from rushing to play without warming up. Also event cardiopulmonary rehabilitation with our one-on-one patient care. Moon's Aquatherapy heated endless pool allows for low-impact exercise with less pain on land. We will give you the right exercises to get you back to health. Ask your doctor to prescribe Moon Physical Therapy. Moon Physical Therapy. We achieve results.
Aloha, this is Martha Clopin.
And Al Harrington. Choosing the right Medicare plan not only saves you money, it also helps you avoid headaches and heartaches down the road.
We want to remind everyone
to listen to a Medicare Moment with Martha, Sundays from 9:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. as we help answer important questions on Medicare so you can stay healthy, wealthy, and wise all year long.
Call me at 543-2073, 543-2073.
I was an addict from the age of 13. I finally decided it was time for a change. I walked into the Salvation Army Adult Rehabilitation Center, and that got me ready for the real world. Now, I choose to be guided by Jesus Christ, and today, I'm building a powerful and promising future, free from drugs and alcohol.
Please shop at the Salvation Army family stores. With our discounted sales, your support through your purchase helps men live a clean, sober, and productive life.
Got Vegas on your mind? Get Vacations Hawaii on the line. Vacations Hawaii offers weekly 4- and 5-night Honolulu to Vegas packages, which include 3 meals daily from $6.99. Stay at Hawaii's favorite casinos: California, Fremont, Main Street Station, and Orleans Hotel. Vacations Hawaii will get you there in comfort on deluxe wide-body 767 planes with complimentary in-flight hot meal service. Vacations Hawaii's frequent flyer program gives you future travel discounts and credits. So if you're ready to win big, call Vacations Hawaii at 591-4777 or visit pointVacationsHawaii.com.
Today, more than ever, we local people are living longer than any other state in the Union, with more seniors, baby boomers, and caregivers. Generations Radio promotes the importance to be proactive as we all age. The radio team will focus on issues facing our seniors and their families, finding resources to navigate healthy aging along with financial, legal, and caregiving information. So join Percy E. Howard from 5 until 6 each Saturday, right here on AM 690 The Answer. Focusing on the issues facing our seniors and their families today. Here's our Generations Radio host, Percy Ihara.
Welcome back to Generations Radio. And by the way, if you haven't seen the magazine yet, the April-May issue is out with Helen, Richard, and Diane on the front cover. They are 3 active seniors from the Lanakila Senior Center, and they are the cover of the April-May issue. And I have to thank my art director again, Wilson Angel, who did a great photograph with Brian Suda, our photographer. But just the background of the cover is just beautiful. And in fact, we're taping this show on a Thursday, and this morning they had a autograph signing session at Lanakila Center.
Oh, how fun.
A couple of several hundred seniors went through there, and they're sitting on the table. So I brought them some lays. We got some photographs. We put on a big poster board. This picture is just beautiful. So thanks to Richard, Diane, and Helen. But also thank you to Mui, the Lanakila Senior Center director, and Justin, their program director, for pulling it all together. It was a lot of work. It was well worth it, though, to get the stories. And, they have over 18 programs over there, 8 different ethnic groups over there, clubs there, that we got to get you to go speak, because that's probably a great demographic for you. But thanks to them. And so you can read it online, or you can check out our distribution centers like the libraries, the YMCAs. We do have 6 magazine racks downtown. If you go to our website, we have a new website now. So if you go to our website and go to the distribution page, you'll see a map that has the dots all over. We have over 210 locations. If you live on a big island, just go to KTA. If you're in Maui, go to the Paia, the Lahaina, and Kaunoa centers. On Kauai, go to the Office on Aging. But thanks too much to our staff. They did a great job. But anyway.
Well, Percy, I want to say the magazine this month is gorgeous, and your website looks fabulous, too.
It's new.
And we have your magazine in our office, too, so we're really happy that when folks drop in to see us, that's the first thing they see to sit down and wait for their advocate to come meet with them is Generations Magazine,
well,
right
thank
there.
You. You're as a partner with us and as a major resource. It's really important. Like I said, Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid, and so it's really important to get the word out and know who to call and who to trust. Also, on our April-May issue, our resource guide is the list of all the adult day centers in the state of Hawaii. So thanks to our Holly Haoli director, Kathy, over there, who's actually the president of the adult day centers in Hawaii, the new president this year. But check that out. And I've run into, almost daily, people run into people that know Helen, Richard, or Diane. It's funny how it is. You go, I need to get some more copies. They belong to our club, or they belong to this. And it's funny how I've never met them before until we did a photo shoot. But it's amazing how many people know them, and they got a lot more energy than I do. So that's what inspires me to stay young and stay healthy. So Amber, you're young. You're gonna have to stay up there, though. But anyway, we're here with Amber and Cassandra from Cardon Outreach, one of our partners in the magazine. So thank you so much. But yeah, Medicaid. We were talking earlier about qualifying, and Amber, you said the biggest stumbling block is usually, if anything, the property. Right?
Yes.
What about the 5-year look back? Because I hear so much about that, how you can take money out and put it in some kind of vehicle, and it's not considered an asset, or you have to get rid of it over 1-2 year period. It's illegal. How does that all 5-year look back work?
Sure. That is a question that a lot of people ask about and are concerned about. So the Medicaid rule states basically that you can't give away assets to try to qualify for Medicaid. So when you apply, that's one of the questions they ask. Have you sold, traded, or given away anything of value in the last 5 years? And if so, what was it? What was its value? And how much value did you receive from it? So, for instance, if you sold your home in the last 5 years and you got fair market value for your home and you put that money in the bank and you've been living off of it or just using it for whatever we all use our own money for every day, that's no problem. That's not disposing of your assets. But if you've sold your home and you gave all of your money to your son or daughter, then that's considered disposing of your assets.
So let's say $500,000, or so that if they sold it or transferred title.
Transferred title also counts.
I see that quite a bit, actually.
Yeah, that happens more even than selling it.
So
yes.
Now, is it the fair market value or is it the net equity?
It's the fair market value is what they look at for disposal of assets.
So this is $500,000.
Right.
So I've seen this calculation before. It's been a couple of years. How do they calculate that out? How do they do that?
Basically, what they do is they take what is considered to be the state average monthly cost of nursing home. You divide that into however much you gave away, and that's how many months.
So is that
you're
like
not eligible.
Something?
Yes, about 8,880 was the last figure I saw.
Okay.
Right.
So if somebody sold their home for $500,000 and divide that, let's by 8,000, let's say 500 for round number 6, right? That equals 58 months.
58 months, and that's from the time MedQuest makes that determination. It's not from the time you actually made the transaction. So they look back 5 years.
Okay.
3 years ago you did this.
Okay.
Starting now, because I'm the MedQuest worker.
That's when you apply?
That's when your penalty starts, from when you apply. So then you apply.
So let's say I applied 3 years ago when I did it.
Well, then your penalty would have started 3 years ago.
Okay. But you have to apply?
You have to apply for Medicaid long-term care, and that's when they ask you about the look back, and that's when they determine if you disposed. And if they determine you disposed, those months in which you cannot be eligible for long-term care payment for Medicaid starts now, not back then.
Any kind of Medicaid, like the health insurance as well?
No, it's only for long-term care.
Long-term care. So now one of the figures that is for an individual versus a couple, they can have a certain amount of assets, right?
Right.
And a couple figure is 100-something thousand.
Amber, what is that?
Okay, so the community spouse resource allowance is $119,220.
Okay, and the individual still $2,000?
Yes, correct.
So what does that really mean?
Well, as an individual, it's pretty basic. You're only allowed to have $2,000 in assets in the bank accounts. As a community spouse, we still want the person that is living in the community to be able to live off of whatever they have.
Right.
They're allowed to have that much in assets together as a couple. Eventually, after you get approved, they do have to separate it so that the patient who is in the nursing home or in the foster home only has $2,000, and the community spouse can have up to $117,220. So eventually, it'll be
What do you
separate.
mean you have to put it in a separate bank account?
Yes.
Oh.
So then it's safe to move your assets. Once you get approved as a couple, you can move the assets, and you have to move the assets from the name of the person that's in the nursing home to the name of the person that's still in the community.
I see. So what's the difference between income and assets?
Income is money that you get every month. So basically, it's your pension, your Social Security. For those of us that still work, it's our wages.
Right.
That's your income.
Okay.
Your assets are monies that you have in a financial institution, a checking account, a savings account, stocks, bonds. If you have a life insurance policy, if it has a cash value, that cash value counts as an asset. So basically, an asset is anything that you can get your hands on, can get access to, and if it's over the amounts that the Medicaid program allows, the state, Medicaid, says you have to use those monies to pay for your medical needs before the state pays or before the taxpayers pay.
That's fair.
I think it's fair.
Absolutely.
These limits are looked at and are increased over time based on inflation and cost of living changes. And so they're indexed based on different variables within our state and within the United States. So,
but my understanding on income, let's say you're getting, if you go on Medicaid and you go into a facility or care home, let's say you're making $2,000 in income, the state takes everything except for $50. Is that correct?
Not necessarily, though. If you're a single person, an individual, and you bring home a certain amount of income, first thing that gets taken out is your medical premium. So Medicare, which is usually the $104.90 that you can see on the Social Security award letter, if people are paying privately for like HMSA, that also gets subtracted out. After that, then the $50 allowance comes, and then whatever is left is considered cost share.
Okay. So the state requires you to maintain any insurance that you currently have that you privately pay for, because that just reduces the cost that the Medicaid program would have to pay for your needs in the nursing home. But yes, if you're a single person, you pay for any insurance you have, and then you get your $50 a month, because the Medicaid program says, hey, everything else is being taken care of. The nursing home is taking care of you. But you can have your $50 a month in case you have a favorite malasada or a plate lunch you want to have brought in, or you want your hair done. That's
Hawaiian
right.
Pie Company. I like the taro. What do you call those? The taro malasadas.
Yes,
so
oh
my
good. goodness. I just had one of those yesterday. Oh, yes.
I took 2 boxes of Molokai for an event, and I know they don't get it very often. They saw the box. I said, wait. I took 2 out of there for myself. I said, okay, you can have the rest.
No.
It was so funny. It was gone. Let me tell you, Leah's laughing over here. You've had them before. They're taro ones, but this Hawaiian Pie Company, Jan and Joel, they do great work. But okay, so but is $50 enough? People kind of complain about that.
They probably do, and so that's a question for folks to bring up to the legislature, because they're the ones that set these guidelines and rules. The MedQuest office makes recommendations, of course, for changes that they want to policy. But if you call your legislative or senator here in Hawaii for changes in rules, that's who's supposed to be addressing it for you.
And you can't give the income to your spouse.
You can.
You can.
So
give
that's
the
for a
Yes.
single person. Yeah.
Yes.
What do you mean by that? How
Okay.
would you have a spouse if you're a single person?
No, that income, that $50 and everything else
That
to the
breakdown.
nursing home is if you're a single person.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Oh, so if you have a spouse and
Yeah.
you're going to the facility,
Yeah.
your income can.
There's a totally different
Okay,
formula
so
that
how
they
does that
use.
work?
So income is counted for the both of them together. So that's both of their Social Security. If they're collecting retirement, annuity, pension, that's all considered into one category of income. Then the first thing that goes out is the premiums for both of them. So the Medicare for both the patient and the spouse, and if there's any additional insurances that come out. The spouse is able to keep up to $29.80 monthly of that income.
Oh, really? I didn't know
So
that.
first goes the insurance, $50 for the patient, and then the spouse is able to keep up to $29.80. After all of that calculation, whatever is left is the cost share for whatever they're going to owe to the nursing facility. Now, if there's a situation where the income is less than that $29.80, the spouse is able to collect whatever is left over. Cost share would become $0, and then Medicaid picks up the rest of the cost for the nursing home, for the entire cost at that point.
Okay. And the MedQuest covers drug coverage as well.
Yes, they do. They cover drug coverage as well.
And even like when you have to go dialysis, things like that.
Right.
Correct.
Yes, that is all covered also.
So it sounds like a not bad gig here.
Well,
But the downside is, is where you're going to go, right? Where there's a bed.
Absolutely.
Well, that is always the question then, too, is how do you find a place and how do you decide on a place? So what we try to do is we try to partner and have resources with nursing homes or case management agencies for foster family placement, so that when folks come to us and want us to help them with the process, we can guide them to who they can reach out to go to see places and decide where is best for their mom or their dad or whoever they're trying to help get into a nursing home. So Amber has people that she works with in this community. And for instance, if they want to be in a certain area of the island, we'll try to guide them to nursing homes in that area.
So you know all the nursing homes?
Most, yes.
What about so is there foster care as well?
Yeah,
Correct.
foster
Arches.
care as well. Right, Arches. So case management agencies. And then if it's foster care, what the case management agency will do is give the family a choice. Say, okay, we have openings in these 3 or 4 places. Go see them. Go meet with them. See if you like the atmosphere, if you think it'll work right for your mom, your dad, whomever you're helping. Because they want to make a good match in the foster family placement,
really the
too.
key, yeah.
That is the key. Because you don't want to have somebody in a place where they're unhappy. That's just not healthy to start with. So
we're here with Cardon Outreach talking about Medicaid, and I have one question before we get into the process. So I hear they say, well, if your mom goes on Medicaid, and if your son or a spouse is living at home, they won't put a lien on a property.
So there's 5 different times when they won't put a lien on a property. Okay, so if your spouse still lives in the house, no lien. If you have a minor child, go ahead.
Let's say real quick. I'm thinking of my situations I've personally seen.
Okay.
So we put dad in a facility on Medicaid. Mom's in the home.
Mm-hmm.
Mom passes away in the home.
Mm-hmm.
So dad's in a facility on Medicaid. So that means now they can put a lien on a property when he passes away, or
when mom passes away, who's been living in the home, the state will put the lien on the property.
And a lien means what? The cost of his care all these years at 81, whatever the figure is?
Yes. The lien means that when the property sells, the state of Hawaii will have a lien and will be paid back then for the cost of the long-term care.
And I understand also if a son or a family member is living in the home for like 3 of the last 5 years or 2 of the last, something like that?
If an adult child lives in the home for 2 years prior to going into a nursing home, and they're providing care that kept mom or dad out of a nursing home for those 2 years, then there would be no lien. So what you have to prove there is that you've lived there. So you have to have a driver's license or something to show you've lived there. And then you have to give a statement of what you've been doing to help mom and dad stay out of the nursing home, which is generally taking them to the doctor, making sure that they're getting their medications, that you're helping them every day to stay healthy and out of a nursing home.
So let's say, okay, we got dad qualified. He's at a facility or at a care home on Medicaid. Now the son moves out.
Yeah.
What happens now?
Now the lien can go on.
Ah, okay. We covered those. I see that. I wouldn't say a lot, but I do run into that at least once a month or so.
Sure.
Okay, so that's 2. Well, they said there's 5, but
yeah. So the other one is if there's a minor child, or if there's an adult disabled child
living in the home. Okay.
And then the last one is if there's a sibling that has a equity ownership of the property and living there.
So
then there's
my
no
sister's
lien.
on Medicaid, and I live in the home where we own together.
Yes. Then there's no lien, right?
So, but what if she doesn't live there?
Then there'll be a lien.
Oh, they got to be part owner or live there?
Part owner and live there.
Oh, part owner and live.
Right. So if they're part owner and they don't live there, the lien is only on half of the home, right? It's only on the...
So they can't put a lien on that?
They can put a lien on it if they don't live there.
Okay.
You have to live there.
You
have to be living in the house.
I got a call last month. That's the reason why.
Oh, okay.
My client, and it was, I have 3 clients that got a mortgage with the siblings, and then one passed away, and so the sister called me. Okay. So as long as they're living there, any percentage?
Has to be 50%.
Oh,
50%, yeah.
I think there's 3 of them living there.
Oh, that's interesting. That might be okay, as long as they're all living there.
The client, his wife, and his sister. So they had 33% each.
But the wife was living in the home?
Yes.
And the home was under who?
Amber, you asked me a hard question.
I'm sorry.
I have to stick to it because I have 3 different situations. And I believe it's, okay, yeah. So husband and wife owns 50%. The sister owns the other 50%.
Oh, okay.
So when he passed away, you have 2 sister-in-laws living together now. So I believe his tenants in common. So I think his share went to her. So yeah, 50-50 each now.
Okay.
I think it should be okay then. So it's 50%.
I think it sounds okay.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I don't know. But
now you're asking us hard questions.
I wasn't sure about the tenancy and how much they got, because there's a right of survivorship if you don't have tenants by entirety for couples. I have seen that too. So okay, so at least 50% they got to live there.
Right, for the sibling one, right.
And the children or younger dependent.
The children don't have to be owners. They just have to be living there.
Oh, they don't have to be owners?
No, they don't have to be owners. They just have to be living there.
Okay.
Right.
So,
only the sibling has to be a part owner for there not to be a lien.
Okay, so I've seen times where the property was in trust, and they take it out of trust to qualify for Medicaid.
Right.
There's no look-back period when they take it out of trust, is there?
No.
Okay. And so when they apply, so you guys have a service, and I love your service here.
Yeah.
And can I ask, what do you charge per client? Is it a couple
Sure.
or per client?
It's per applicant. It's per application. And so our charge is $950. And then when you add the tax in, the total comes to $992.75.
And that's everything?
That's everything. That's it.
Wow.
The consultation is free. We don't ask for a contract until we look at everything and say, looks like we're good to go. And if you're still having to spend some assets down to qualify, it's within a few months. So let's do the contract and start the application process. So we don't charge anything until we're ready to apply. Before that, we'll just consult with you and advise you and work with you to get to that point. And then it's all the way through. If for some reason MedQuest denies the application and we think it's an incorrect denial, we'll appeal it. We'll keep working on it until...
One of they don't get it. Do they get the money back? Well, it's never happened.
It's never happened. But
never happened. Really?
Never happened in that way. But we do refund money in certain circumstances. It's all a part of our contract, and it's explained.
If they apply and they pass away,
then we'll refund.
I see.
Right.
Well, because I've heard double or triple the cost for applications. Is that for any kind of Medicaid, whether it's MedQuest or the health insurance side or long-term care side?
That's just for the long-term care side. If we don't have a private program for just the Medicaid Quest in the community. If you need help with that or you have questions about it, we're happy to talk with you and give advice and talk you through it. Yeah.
So what exactly does that process entail? Like you have to show bank statements, show title.
Yep.
Right,
we
Amber?
need verification of citizenship, identification, all sorts of income, life insurance.
Bank statements.
Bank
you have to show the policy?
Yes. And we need to show the cash value of all of these policies as well. If you're paying privately for a separate health insurance, we need the statements so that Medicaid is able to cover that as well. Social Security award letters, everything that has value, everything that you would think that they ask a question on the application, we need to provide.
Okay. So I heard you can have one wedding ring.
Right.
And then I heard, what is this thing about the funeral plot? You can have one funeral plot?
Funeral plots and funeral plans are not counted as assets. And you can have one for each of you if you're a couple. You can actually have more than that as long as you have persons to whom you say they are assigned.
Yeah, for your children.
For your children, your nephews, your nieces, anybody that you say, I have these 4 plots and these are the 4 people to whom they're going to be used, for whom they're going to be used.
But the plot or the plan can remain in the parent's name?
Yes. Yes, okay. You don't have to have it officially in their name. You just have to, we have you write a statement to say this is for this person or this person or this person. Yeah.
I see. So what is this deal here? I know we got a couple minutes left where somebody has $100,000 left. They want to qualify. They put it, is that what's called an immediate annuity or some kind of a financial product where get rid of assets faster, where they can qualify faster? I heard a situation like that.
I am not familiar with that.
A legal financial vehicle, I heard. Okay, we'll have to find that out and get back on.
Yeah.
Because I heard an attorney actually do that, and I didn't know that was legal because there's a 5-year look back. But anyway,
it sounds funny to me, but
Okay. Okay. So the cost is $950 plus tax.
Yes.
And so when you say all the way through, so I hear you fill out the application, and you have to go to Capole or where's the Medicaid? Do you remember Human Services office is at? Where's it at?
There's 2 on Oahu. One is in Kapolei and one is on Dillingham, 801 Dillingham.
Okay, I know where that is.
Yes.
Okay, so you go to the interview with them?
We do. And generally they don't do a face-to-face interview. They'll do a phone interview.
Oh, really?
And so we'll go to your home and be on that call with you if you like, or have you come to our office and be on the call. Yes, we do.
I thought it was face-to-face. No?
It used to be. But
it used to be?
Yeah, they don't do face-to-face anymore. They just do phone interviews.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Amber.
You're very welcome.
I need you to get your cell number, by the way, if I can call. But and Cassandra, thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
And you'll be at our Aging in Place workshop August 20th. Will be one of our presenters. And So how do people reach you guys?
You can call our office, 566-6666.
That's easy.
Real easy number.
I like 6 and 16. That's why.
Yeah, there you go.
That's our number on a baseball uniform.
There you go.
566-6666.
Right. And ask for Amber or Cassandra, or just tell them that you're calling because you want information about long-term care Medicaid, and our staff will get you to us.
What about on a website? Does your website have information?
No, our website doesn't.
Okay, that's okay. I think it's really important to call and get someone on the phone. But
it
anyway,
is.
Thank you so much again. Medicaid and You guys. We'll be back next week. So stay tuned or go to our website, generations808.com. Thanks, Amber and Cassandra. Aloha and live well.